As you know, today we are presenting information regarding endocrine disrupting chemicals and its adverse impacts to chronic conditions, chronic diseases, and cancers. So, the person we have today, we're really fortunate to have today to present this work, is a brother from Burkina Faso. By far, Burkina Faso is the land of the upright people in the continent of Africa and perhaps globally. This brother, his name is Zabado. He earned a degree in biology with emphasis in animal and plant biology and a master's of science in applied biological science with a specialty in animal physiology and biotechnology. He's currently a PhD candidate in biological science with a specialty in biochemistry, pharmacology, and animal biotechnology. He is a member of molecular biology and genetics lab at the Joseph KI-ZERBO University, Burkina Faso. He is a member of Intersectoral Center for Endocrine Disruptor Analysis, ICEDA, Quebec, Montreal. In 2024, he was awarded the Best Student Ambassador of Public Health. He is the president and CEO of Perturbateurs. It's a French, Perturbateurs. Burkina Faso is actually a French-speaking country. The website for the Perturbateurs, Endocriniens, I will put it in the chat. So if you want to check out the website, you can. And the goal of this Perturbateur is to disseminate information about endocrine disrupting chemicals to community levels, both midstream and downstream, to advance knowledge on its adverse harmful effects on health and environment. Zabado has authored and co-authored several scientific articles. So without further ado, I will turn it to a brother here, like I said, that came from the land of the upright people, to start the presentation and maybe give accolades to his colleagues and fellow scholars that he's been working on this project for a long time. Thank you. So I'll turn it over to you, Gene. Go ahead.
Thank you, brother, for the flow. I am honored and happy to debate with you about topic endocrine disrupting chemical EDCs impacts on chronic and cancer disease. My name is Zabado Jean-François Romeo. I am a PhD student at the Joseph KI-ZERBO University. I come from in Burkina Faso. I want to present the content of this debate. For the part 2, endocrine disrupting chemical affect human health. Under point 1, developmental origin of health and disease. Under point 2, respiratory diseases and endocrine disruptor chemical. 3, metabolic disorder. 4, osteoporosis. 5, fertility and endocrine disruptor chemical. 6, cancer. 7. Prevention. I want to use a little story to introduce the different exposure from endocrine disruptor chemical. Let's go. The alarm clock ring on your smartphone. Its screen which you broke last night emit cadmium. Cadmium is a heavy metal. It is endocrine disruptor chemical. The mattress you slept on is treated with brominated flame retardant. It is an endocrine disruptor chemical. In the washroom, shower gel, shampoo, conditioner, deodorant, toothpaste, moisturizer, and makeup all contain triclosan, which are endocrine disruptor chemical. You put in your contact lens made of per and perfluoroalkyl substances, PFOS. It is endocrine disruptor chemical. In the cookery, you turn on your plastic electric kettle, which releases bisphenol A, BPA, when heated while you fry an egg in a Teflon pan. It is endocrine disruptor chemical. It is raining. You patch on a water repellent raincoat treated with perfluorinated compound. It is endocrine disruptor chemical. When you ride your bicycle to work, you are inhaling exhaust fumes, particulate matter, and even pesticide dispersed by the wind. It is endocrine disruptor chemical. At noon, you are eating up your emulated lasagne in the microwave in a plastic container, which, when contaminate your meal with bisphenol, while your boss is enjoying a cheese pizza topped with the persistent organic pollutant that line the grease-proof interior of cardboard packaging. It is endocrine disruptor chemical. It is 1 p.m. The pregnancy test you have before is positive. And finally, this story illustrates the massive exposure of a woman pregnancy to numerous endocrine disrupting chemical. The embryo is forming its main structure and function. This story also can use another example for the men. Part 2, endocrine disruptor chemical and human health. Under point 1, developmental origin of health and disease. This picture illustrates the critical exposure windows. The pre- and postnatal period exposure, the first 1,000 days exposure, the fetal period is particularly at risk and can lead to disease in adulthood. Gestation, childhood, puberty, reproductive life, middle life, later life are the exposure windows. Under point 2, respiratory disease and endocrine disruptor chemical. Respiratory system facilitates gas exchange between the air and the blood. Endocrine disruptor chemical can permit pathologies affecting the functioning of the respiratory system. The primary route of exposure to contaminant present ambient air, regardless of airborne contaminant being in gaseous form or associated with particles. Airborne endocrine disruptor chemical can lead asthma, bronchitis, tuberculosis, rhinitis, chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases. And finally, endocrine disruptor chemical likely play a role in the rise in immune-related disorder in both human and wildlife. Under point 3, metabolic disorder, diabetes. The figure number 5 permits to show the role of nutrition to have diabetes. Endocrine disruptor chemical use the peroxisome proliferator activated receptor PPAR and realize disruption of insulin secretion, nervous damage, blood vessel and eyes damage, increasing prevalence, especially in low-income countries, hereditary fraction by diabetes. Diabetes type 2 count for about 90% of diabetic cases. Diabetes type 2 is associated with overweight and a sedentary lifestyle. Gestational diabetes could appear during pregnancy. Diabetic legs. It is also clear from human study that we are exposed to perhaps hundreds of environmental chemicals at any one time. Under point 3, metabolic disorder, height, arterial pressure. This picture shows arterial normal versus arterial anormal. Endocrine disruptor chemical use the peroxisome proliferator activated receptor and realize variable risk factor, excessive salt or fat intake, a sedentary lifestyle, tobacco, and alcohol consumption, being overweight or obese. Height, arterial pressure in children. Nowadays, many children show height, arterial pressure. Endocrine disruptor chemical can lead cardiac hypertension, renal hypertension, neurological hypertension, or ocular hypertension. Can lead also either it dashes blurred vision, shed pain on over symptom. Grade 1, grade 2, and grade 4 of high arterial pressure can be lead to endocrine disruptor chemical. For the under point number 3, metabolic disorder, obesity. This picture shows the different progression through different stage toward obesity. Endocrine disruptor chemical use the peroxisome proliferator activated receptor and realize the double threat of malnutrition, quiescences of undernutrition and overweight. In Africa country, we are the nutritional transition, persistence of nutritional deficiencies. This picture characterized by stunted growth, tinnitus, underweight, and micronutrient deficiencies remain major problem. It is also clear that one of the important environmental risk factors for endocrine disease is exposure to endocrine disruptor chemical during development. Under point number free metabolic disorder, heart attack. This figure shown cerebrovascular accident. Endocrine disruptor chemical use the peroxisome proliferator activator receptor and realize vascular risk factor include high blood pressure, obesity, hypercholesterolemia, diabetes, smoking, alcoholism, and estrogen progesterone contraception in women. Under point 4, osteoporosis and endocrine disruptor chemical. This figure number 1 shows various types of bone, normal bone versus bone with osteoporosis. Endocrine disruptor chemical use the peroxisome proliferator activated receptor and realize disease of the musculoskeletal system or articulation discomfort, a serious degenerative disease that causes damage to cartilage on wheel and teeth on joints, deposition of osteophytes, which are calcified salts, linking to circulatory disorder, that is to say, osteoarthritis or arthritis in the joint and spine. When the salts stay on the surface of the joint, they begin to destroy tissue, bone, and cartilage. As they grow, the salt crystal begin to damage muscle tissues, tendons, blood vessels, and capillaries, causing severe inflammation, swelling, and intense pain. Joint disease are silent illness with no visible symptom until a fracture occurs. This pathology affects both men and women, especially those over the age of 57, that is to say 78% of people, and young people over age of 26, that is it say 25, 20, and young people over the age of 26, that is to say 33%. The world record nearly 20 million osteoporotic fractures per year. In fact, several factors determine bone mass, genetic and environmental factors, that is to say, diet, physical exercise, hormone. Finally, bone disorder, it is well established that bone is a target tissue for estrogen, which affect bone mineralization and malnutrition. For the conclusion, I say that I hope this presentation will start for use and over to fight against the adverse health effects on endocrine disrupting chemical at the downstream, midstream, and upstream level. Thanks for your understanding. I appreciate it. Thank you.